So yeah, I basically wanted to just make sure supplements that bodybuilding supplements. Yeah, I basically just wanted to make sure that my webcam and everything was working. So that's kind of what these videos have been about since sort of escapading back towards reality and trying to actually do something with my life instead of do nothing over in La La Land or Hawaii. But yeah, so what I want to get into now is just sort of like a commentary, maybe criticism or questions and stuff for draft science. So he is, and he's also, the person who's got me into atheism, being an atheist, and getting out of, the religious talk and, you know, like uh, God mindedness and all of this, crappy consciousness that really doesn't propel humanity anywhere anytime soon. Excuse me, because it's just really, ancient and, excuse me, abhorrent to, where we're at civilizationally. So anyway, that's what I want to get into, and hopefully I can do uh, the two videos that he's asked us to start with. So it's also just to sort of understand physics at a greater level. So that's kind of what I'm getting into with hopefully these next two videos. So yeah. So he's basically in this video number one where he says to start um, one universe, or just video number one, start here. 505 views, 20 likes, 12 dislikes. Um, you know, one universe, a small universe, one kind of interaction. Force bit hits matter bit. All force bits have the same speed. All matter velocity is caused by force velocity. So that's what it says. Yeah, this whole multiverse thing, like, um, I got into it when I was big into spirituality and the afterlife and what it'd be like, where our soul goes and everything after we die. Do we go through the black hole and into like, so basically my conception of like the multiverse was like basically all galaxies are getting sucked into a black hole, and the galaxy is being pushed out the black hole. The black hole turns into a white hole, because I did hear from other people even that science, that's physicists, like astrophysicists and theoretical physicists and stuff, like Einstein types have come up with a white hole, and the white hole is at the end of a black hole, and the galaxy would get sucked into the black hole and then pushed out through the white hole into another universe. And that was my conception of like these multi universes, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Like, science is never ending, and that means God is like omniscient and all this shit. So whoops. Now I haven't watched like all of Draft Science videos or Amendum videos or all of his other videos, but I've gotten through them pretty consistently for the past month. I'd say for a month roughly. So um, I never I had like considered atheism um, within the past 3 years as sort of like my label or whatever, just to say like I am denouncing religion. But I've always substantially denounced religion for most of my adolescence through adulthood, and then just getting into. But I never got into the physics aspect of it, obviously, and so that's what I'm trying to get into now. Just understanding. Right. So the big thing that I get sold on is the evolution aspect, where evolution is based off of facts, and the God theory has no facts at all. Like, even the coordinates, or if you will, coordinates, or landscapes or landmarks that are supposed to be substantial or significant in religious or religiosity or religion itself. They're just not factual. They're not factually based. They're not like saying anything factual. They're just sort of like this play, as if the Bible was written by Shakespeare or something. So a lot of what he talks about are the photons, which you would even be able to see at draftphysics.com. Excuse me, draftphysics.com. But yeah, the photons and everything. My dinner is coming up. But these photons are sort of reactionary, and the photons exemplify the Big Bang and everything. So it's the photons that established the DNA molecule and so forth and so on. So what I see sort of in conventional physics, which draft science may agree on, is that there's sort of like layers to like this onion of physics, um, and a lot of the layers sort of contradict previous facts. So it's like um, Einstein is contradicting Newton, and Tesla is contradicting Einstein. So I don't understand the slit experiments entirely, but my understanding of the slit experiments are that they're shooting photons or light through, like with like a flashlight or a laser or a flashlight, through a particle. It's been very hard for me to understand lately, like getting into physics and everything, but basically, it's supposed to sort of quantify or qualify the photons bending at um, the slit. So like light, light can be shining at high noon, and your window is facing where the sun would have where the sun will have rose, but the photons are still the photon like basically there's a shadow, there's shadows and everything, and the shadows are caused by the bendation of the bending of the light. So it's this whole theory, that the photons are bending somehow in this slit experiment. These slit experiments seem to be sort of qualifying that or accepting that as a truth, as if the lights or the photons in the light are bending and stuff. I think I'm not entirely certain, but um, Simon might be the guy who was talking about electromagnetic radiation. I'm not sure on that. I'm pretty sure Bennington um, was the guy, or Bennington or something was the guy who was doing the slit experiments, which was after Einstein and Tesla. Um, I always thought Einstein came after Tesla, but apparently Einstein's glory happened in uh, like before World War I and everything, and then Tesla came before World War II. Um, kind of lost what I was going to say. Right. So the physical reality not being physical, and these layers to the onion of physics are basically just incorporating ideas or concepts around a new layer, or you should say a deeper, or I should say a deeper layer of the physics onion, because it's just turning. That's what it's turning into. So they're saying they're no longer going with Newton's theory of gravity. They're accepting energy equals mass times constant squared. Because it's like they got to incorporate the photon or the electrons and the neutrons and made up of the photons, and they're all having this reaction, um, and they just have to somehow say that that's like electromagnetism or something, which is causing the shade or compared to the light, or the shadows compared to the light and everything. Right, because they're saying, I guess conventional physicists or theoretical physicists and everything are saying, scientists are saying basically they're contributing light to sort of a matter quality. Like they're no longer saying, it's about the photons or it's all about the photons. They're saying there's other qualities to this light, and now we have to deal with that. We're sort of on like level two. Right, and that would talk about the facts like evolution being factual, and that we evolved from mammals, or we evolved from chimpanzees and monkeys and gorillas and Homo sapiens and all of this stuff. It's talking about how although there is deeper qualities to the light, we're going to totally skip all that and just say that this is what's contributing to gravity or electromagnetism. Right. So the light is nothing without the photons, and they come up with the electrons and the protons and the neutrons and the atoms, and they continually, conventional physics, I would say, just continually negates the fact that um, basic qualities have already been established, and we have to somehow um, manipulate our way into an attention field where we're no longer dealing with the force that issued the Big Bang or relative uh, real concepts of what physics and science should be made of. So we're also, here trying to ask like why does conventional physics want to say that the light is bending when the light comes through your window and it's bending? Um, why is it bending? Or yeah, that's a good question. So right, the photons are hitting other photons, or electrons are hitting other protons, or electrons are hitting other electrons, maybe. But I guess that's up for debate. But yeah, that's what's happening with the light. The light isn't continuously curving or bending, and that just seems like a complete like duopoly or assertion or contradiction in these other facts and elements of physics. And arguably, physics should be um, designed out of being in um, compatibility with evolution. If I'm not mistaken, Newton uh, started talking about the laws of gravity or the theories of gravitational force and all this stuff before Darwin was talking about evolution. I think Newton was talking about gravity in the 1600s, and Darwin was talking about evolution in the 1700s. So that also supports biophotons, and that's sort of a recent that's a recent theory. These biophotons, our body is made up of biophotons and biological tons, uh, and we're the organized photons and everything. And again, it does just seem like a force, doesn't it? Okay, yeah. So that was kind of what I'm gonna stop there. That's kind of what I was getting into with draft science before I started making this video. Um, I had asked him a question, a series of questions, if I can get to it real quick. So I'm just gonna end the video with the question, with my comments. So right, I was basically just asking. I said, sorry if I don't fully understand your conception of the wave or the way photons behave or the overall concept of particles in ether. Why would the photons duplicate their behavior? As in, why would gravity become magnetism to produce the ether around the Earth? If the Earth negates magnetism, then what does magnetism evolve into? So he was saying it's sort of a mock gravity, or just the photons cycling and um, the geometrical attributes that they hold. They're just continuing that in sort of a hyperspeed to produce the electromagnetism, and then that would seem to me that there would just be an even higher velocity where uh, the DNA molecule was able to be produced, and the DNA molecule, which is what we're made up of, its only concept of what it's supposed to do is just reproduce. So yeah, just giving it a go, and I'm new to physics but willing to learn. So I'm just going to upload this and hopefully review, hopefully continue again. You know, we're at 17 minutes right now, so there's about 22 minutes to go in his first video. So right, I'll just try to publish this.